Hello, this is Gary Wishon, the Disgruntled Heathen. Now, before I even get talking about the subject today, I want to point out I hold no degrees in science. I'm an enthusiast when it concerns power, energy. I've read up on this subject a good chunk of my life. But unlike people like Nephilim Free, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a degree holder. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. So everything I talk about, I'll leave a link down below. All right. I know this is probably an old story as far as YouTube's concerned, but it's all I can do to keep up sometimes. Out of all the mess was Donald Trump backing out of the Paris Climate Change Accords. One part that surprised me the most, and I mentioned this in my previous video, is the religious wrong being climate deniers, climate change deniers. Okay, they say that God wouldn't do that, let that happen, because it's not in the Bible, it's not the end times prophecy that holds no place like that. Okay, my argument is, if you believe in a God, and you believe we have free will, we fuck up this world, we have the free will to fuck up this world. So God gave us the intelligence to fix the fuck up. So that his plan, if you really believe there's a God, I don't, but you do apparently, he gave us the intelligence to fix our mistakes so that his plan can happen. When you work against fixing the climate, or at least reducing the pollution in this home you think God intelligently designed for us, you're going against your own fucking God, you dipshits. And the most galling thing about this mess, a lot of the technology we can turn to is already here. It exists. We just have to fucking use it. There's nothing fucking new. You don't really have to do a massive change. Now, people talk about transportation when it concerns fighting pollution. I think that's basically something that industry and government does so we can ignore the fact that coal plants pollute more than anything else. But that's what we talk about the most when it concerns pollution, so let's start with transportation. A lot of people like to talk about electric cars, but I think natural gas would be a better choice. Now, a lot of environmentalists are probably having an anger stroke right now, but please hold off and let me explain. Natural gas is something this country has an abundance of. Hundreds of years of natural gas, either already processed or on tap to be processed. T. Boone Pickens was right. And natural gas cars is not something that scientists have to go out, engineers have to go out and rush to design. It's been sold for decades. Natural gas versus regular gas. Regular gas has 4 carbon atoms to every 1 natural gas has. So, simple. Hell, Ford's been selling natural gas cars in Europe for decades. The only thing Donald Trump had to do is encourage the sale of natural gas cars. Hell, Texas used to run its a municipal fleet off of natural gas and propane. They stopped doing that because everything must be bigger in Texas except the intelligence of its government. I'll leave a link to natural gas down below. Now to soothe the nerves of every environmentalist I just offended by talking about natural gas being the logical choice. Electric cars, for the longest time, their greatest allies have been their greatest weakness, because their allies would talk about electric cars in the same psychotic zeal religious people would, and they would undermine the value of an electric car by ignoring the weaknesses. Don't get me wrong, if I had a chance to get an electric car, I would jump at it like a horny teenager on a prom date. It is the most efficient motor in existence, electric motors. But for the longest time, the energy source was insufficient. Range has always been the greatest problem. And when environmentalists would talk about the strength of the natural of electric, they'd say, yeah, this model can go 50 miles an hour. Yeah, 50 miles an hour on a flat surface. If the wind is blowing really hard, hell, most cars back in the day, you'd be lucky to find like a ZAP, zero air pollution, that would go 35 miles an hour if a strong wind is blowing behind it. But the range was I think 50 miles, and it had a whole host of other problems. The linkage, and it was just ridiculous. The problems that came with these cars. 90% of it would be plastic. And when they talk about upcoming things, 9 times out of 10 would be vaporware. ZAP was the greatest example of vaporware. They talk about better batteries, ultra capacitors, and then their stock price would go up, and then all of a sudden they would just say, "Oops, yeah, we can't do that," or "Oops, we were talking about what?" But thanks to state initiatives like California demanding better mileage, car companies were scrambling to go electric. Hell, Ford picked up a Norwegian company called Think, and then let's see, there was GM had Impact, still very small mileage, and then Bush killed it, and then Obama came back, and then thankfully Obama let the mileage requirements, each state wanted to post, be a real thing. California being the biggest market for cars, companies had to come up with something. I'll leave a link to like the Nissan Leaf, 100-mile range. Still, yeah, The charge time is ridiculous. When I was talking about before about this, it's not new technology. A lot of people are probably thinking about hybrids. Mercedes-Benz had one, I think, as far back as early 1900s. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I could talk about this for hours. Now, I'll leave down in the description Toshiba. Supposedly, hopefully this is not vaporware, has come out, or is designed, it's said that they came up with a battery that could triple the range of electric car. This dream of electric cars is hopefully taken one step further to becoming a reality. Only thing Donald Trump had to do, even if he didn't want to go for natural gas, he could say, electrics, if this new battery is real, imagine it. You could charge in minutes. And this would be a new revenue source. Picture it, please. Fast food companies. You go in for a burger and fries, you hook up, and then as you're eating, or you just go in for a drink, in a matter of minutes, your car is charged, and then you go out for another 300 miles. Hell, statistics show that we don't do more than 40 miles in a day, normally, the average driver. So this is a doable thing that we could do to help lower our carbon emissions. In my next video, I'm going to talk about the power generation, coal versus wind farms, nuclear power. I think we have a chance to make a viable nuclear energy that has less pollutants. Sorry, like I said, this is something I could talk about for hours. I'll spare you the torture. Again, to the religious wrong in this country, if you believe this world is the home designed by God, please stop crapping on the carpet. Goodbye.